What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing my review, sort of. I mean, it's a review, yeah, of episode 1 of Godzilla Singular Point. I know I already reviewed this before, but I did it without subtitles. Now that I've seen it with subtitles, let's do it again. So this episode is called Terzetto, and I did watch it officially. I'll just say again because I don't like to do things under the table. I watched this officially with official Toho subs, so they're the ones who subtitled it. I didn't watch any online ones. I watched it official from Toho. So the thing that strikes me watching this with subtitles is that I'm probably not going to watch the next few episodes with subtitles first. And probably what I'm going to do is watch every episode twice, once without subs and then once with them, because I didn't realize how fast the dialogue was. It's just non-stop dialogue. It is brutal to try and read this. I'm a slow reader. I cannot keep up with this. I have my finger on the spacebar the entire episode, pausing every single line. It just goes so fast. I'm wondering if they'll fix that when they bring it to America, if they'll do something to change that. But as it stands, like, it's brutal. It is super fast dialogue, and I just cannot keep up. I don't really like watching anime with subtitles anyways, because I typically have this issue. I guess I didn't realize how much happens in this episode, but also I guess I didn't expect to be as accurate as I was when I made my predictions as to what I thought was occurring. I mean, obviously I didn't get a lot of the relationships, and I didn't understand all of the things going on, but I did generally get the idea. So the episode surrounds Yun and Haru investigating a strange sound they've heard. Basically, they are ghost hunters. I mean, Yun says it at the start of the episode that they investigate supernatural stuff, and then they also build robots, and they're like technicians, but that's like the boring part of their job. What a weird job to have. Either way, the episode surrounds them going to a mansion, a strange haunted mansion, because they've gotten reports that there's like mysterious activity going on in the mansion. So they go and investigate this mansion, and basically they discover a crystallized music player, and they're like, well, this thing runs on like phantom power, and there's a mysterious signal being transmitted to it. So then they start going around looking for where this signal is coming from. They bring this little like satellite thing, and they find that it's coming from Misakyoku, the old factory Misakyoku, or whatever it is. I couldn't quite tell. I kind of got the idea that the sound was coming from Rodan, because they say the sound is moving, and they say that it's being transmitted via UFOs, so you would think it's probably like Rodan flying around transmitting this sound. But at the same time, Yun seems to think that the source is coming from Misakyoku. I think that's what it's called. I'm sorry, there's so many names. I'm not really able to keep up. I think it's Misakyoku. Meanwhile, the people at Misakyoku don't seem to think it's coming from them, like Mei and everybody else working with her. They don't really seem to think it's coming from them, so maybe it is Rodan. I have no idea. There's a lot of pseudoscience going around, and a lot of science just thrown around in general. There's one part where like Mei wakes up talking about like symmetry and like the symmetry of like the human body. It's just super weird stuff. Basically, everything's happening at 1,000,000 miles an hour. The B plot of this episode is Mei's plot. Her, Sato, and Yamamoto, they're all working at the Misakyoku plant. Like, there's a little alarm going off that they need to call the Otaki factory guys in about and be like, hey, something's going on here. And then we find out that it's connected to some secret basement that at the end of the episode is revealed to be associated with Godzilla's bones. Godzilla's bones are down there. So there's the potential that the bones are causing this thing to go off, probably now that Rodan's active. There's one part where they mention like a red tide. I don't know if a red tide is a real thing. It could be, but I kind of assumed that it might be linked to the red mist we see in the trailers. I guess I'll find out as the episodes go on. I know it's silly speculating. Everybody's ahead of me in the show, but I'm not ahead, so I don't know. I've only seen the first episode. We get to meet Pero too, who's renamed in the subtitles something like Pep Plop or something. It's like a Pokemon name. He's got like a weird rename. I'm just gonna probably call him Pero too, because that's just what I've been referring to him as for months. Maybe it'll wear me down as I read the subtitles. They also pronounce it Pero, so I don't know. We also see Jaguar, and there's a scene when some kids come make fun of him, and I assume it's Toho poking some fun at themselves, which I appreciate. But other than that, I mean, this is a really plot-heavy episode. There's not a ton to talk about as far as like the kaiju go, and I don't have a ton to speculate about. What I would like to say is I really dig the art style. There's some times when it's really weird. There's like a scene when they're eating food, and the food like super weird looking. And you know, the art style had to grow on me. I wasn't a huge fan of it in the trailers, but I do think it's really cool. I think it's a pretty sweet art style. I think the cinematography is really great. There's just a lot of really really, really beautiful visuals. I'm a big fan of the way they're doing the colors in this show, and I just think it's really good. I also thought the soundtrack was great. I'm really hoping that we get the soundtrack released once the episodes are all done. I hope that they release a bunch of the soundtrack online, but as it stands, I thought the soundtrack was awesome in this episode. And again, I really appreciate hearing Ifukube's Godzilla theme come back when you get to see the Godzilla bones at the end. That's a really cool moment, but the subtitles, couldn't tell what the hell this guy was talking. He was talking about like maple leaves decaying in the wind, and you know, like if we hide it, we will never have to think of it, or something like that. I guess he's just basically being like, hey, let's just pretend Godzilla doesn't exist so we don't have to acknowledge him. There's also one point where I'm wondering if the subtitles are accurate, because there's a scene when Mei reads this big poster of Godzilla in the ocean, and a lot of people translated this as reading Koshira, not Gojira. It was like an ancient form of the word Gojira, so it's like an ancient version of the word Godzilla, and in the episode she just straight calls him Gojira according to the subtitles, whereas I think the people in Japan are saying that it's a different name. It's not Gojira, it's Koshira, and there's like a distinction that I'm sure the show makes. But yeah, that's interesting. I think there's a lot of really interesting setup here, and again, as I said in my reaction, I just like the idea that we're getting like supernatural stuff in Godzilla. I think it's really cool. It's not something we get to do a lot in Godzilla stuff, and so I'm excited to take some risks. I've heard that this show is very risky and that they change a lot, and I know there's some fans who are very upset about it, and I'm excited to see what they do. I really am. I'm interested to see what they do with everything. I think this monster that shows up at the end is supposed to be Rodan, even though he doesn't really look anything like Rodan. Also, Rodan's roar shows up a couple times in this episode, so I guess he has like a pretty prominent role in this show, is my guess. And you know, we see all those different types of Rodans in the trailer, so I think that Rodan is going to be a pretty prominent monster in this show. And I'm excited to see what comes of it. I really am. But yeah, I don't know much about the other episodes. I mean, I got some minor spoilers, but really I don't know any plot details, so I'm interested to see what happens. I'm excited for the ride. If you guys have seen Godzilla Singular Point episode 1, let me know what you think about it down below. Thank you to all the people who support me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. If you guys want to join the Patreon and also join the Discord, I have a Discord, and I know everybody wants to do Discord all the time, and if you want to chat on Discord, you gotta join the Patreon. That's the only way to get access to the Discord. So if you want that, go check it out down below. Other than that, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.